Hi, everybody. This is John Bell with DogmanCams for DogmanCams.com. Just to give y'all a little bit of an update, we've been having some trouble with the cameras. Nothing new there. One camera was working, but completely upside down. Apparently, there was a domestic dispute there, and the person that we have that controls the camera had to vacate the area for a while. So we're trying to get that camera fixed. You know that our Louisiana camera, something drug it off completely, and we don't have that anymore. And frankly, people are kind of wary about going up trying to put up another one there. And then we have a new camera. And then our Taylor camera, it had some trouble. It's been having a lot of trouble. In fact, somebody called me and said that the wires it was knocked on the ground and wires were pulled out of it. But they fixed it and got it back up again. But now it's back down again. So we're sending someone out to work on that one. And then we have a new one that's going to be in Kentucky. And we've been having trouble trying to get that one online. But that one's coming. It's in the works. And there's some other cameras we're working on outside of that for future projects. And that's where we're at with that. Today we've got a very exciting show for you. We have a person named Sancho, all right? And Sancho spent a lot of time south of the border and has some cryptid experience that I don't think anyone else has or has really even talked about before. So I'm very excited to introduce him and bring him on the show today. And so that's what I'm going to do. Sancho, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and give us a bio on who you are, where you come from, how you got to this point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alrighty. So my name is Sancho. I was born in Mexico. I was there till about 7 years old. I was brought to the U.S., to the state of Texas first, and then kind of bounced around from Texas to New Mexico to California. Was never really in trouble, was a good kid at the time. Never, all the way till I was like in my mid-20s is where I had a lot of problems. But when I got out of high school, I went straight to the military, and I spent about 4 years doing that. And when I went in, I did not want to go into a place where, I wanted to be in a combat situation where I'd have to kill somebody or choose my life or somebody else's life. So I basically ended up trying to be a mechanic. And I ended up training the branch that I was in, ended up cross-training with another branch in the Navy. And I was not in the Navy, but I did train with them and spend a lot of time with them because was my MO. And I learned a lot of things, a lot of tactical. I mean, not like Navy SEALs, but I did learn how to shoot, how to rappel, how to jump out of planes, how to read people, how to conduct myself in other countries. A lot of combat hand to hand. I'm not a UFC fighter whatsoever, but I can take care of myself. And in a situation where people don't have any skill settings, like, I'm pretty much advanced over them. When I got out of the military, I went and got a degree in mechanical engineering. I worked at an airport working on planes for about 4 years, and I was married at the time. Made a good living for myself for a while. And when the economy crashed in around 2007-ish all the way to 2009 is where my problems started. And that's how I ended up getting to where the story I'm about to tell you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
So you just want to start off with the story or how everything began, or?
Yeah, tell you, walk us through the beginning, best you can. He's gonna, just so everybody knows, he's gonna leave out. He's gonna change some names, just for protection for this kind of stuff. But yeah, explain how you got into all this and where you ended up.
Okay, so like I said, when the economy crashed and from the 2007-ish area, I was let go from a very lucrative job. Then, like I said, I was in my mid-20s, like almost mid 27, 28 area. I started basically, I had 5 cars myself. My wife had 3. I had 2 houses. And basically when I started losing a lot of things. I had to sell off a lot of things. And when worse come to worse, I was looking for a job. about 4 hours away from home in another big city. When I came back, my ex-wife took everything. I came home to an empty house. All my cars were gone and sold. Everything, all my tools, my welders, diagnostic tool. I mean, basically, she like nothing in the bank accounts, nothing. Like I think she left me with $20, and I went into this great, horrible, horrible depression where I thought about committing suicide at the time. You know, I got so dark, and well, I had a friend who was always running into money, doing hustles here and there. So I reached out to him to help me. And I got to tell you about how I met this guy. Me, I personally, I don't like bullies. When I went to a technical school to get my electronic experience and more mechanical experience before I got my engineering degree. I met this Mexican dude, and his name I don't want to say his name. Well, anyway, his he had a defect on him, and a lot of the guys that came to school down here, it was in Texas. They would come out of the East Coast. They were very racist. They brought their, white power this, white power that, and they would pick on a lot of the smaller Hispanic guys. And I used to tell them, hey, stand up for yourself, because if you don't stand up for yourself, these guys are going to keep running through you or running over you, doing what they want to you. Well, this guy, he had a birth defect where his rib cage did not connect. And he told me, he's like, I can't fight these people. Because like if they hit me, they're either gonna stop my heart or I'll have a heart attack or explode. Basically, he's pretty much he can't fight. I go, well, I told him, I said, if these people keep bothering you, call me and I'll do the fighting for you, man. Because I'm one of the people I can't stand to bully. I never have, never will. Well, a while goes, I'm helping this guy out. I protect him. I'm always watching his back. And he tells me about his friend, and his brother. We're gonna call him Pinky. Well, he tells me he wants me to meet his older brother Pinky. And I'm like, why the hell do I want to meet your brother? I don't really care. He's like, no, my brother, he's always connected. He always has stuff to, whatever you need, he has it. He wants to meet with you. So I go meet this guy. He turns out to be a pretty good guy. And basically, wherever he worked at, he would make a hustle out of it. If he worked at a tire discount place, he was always hustling tires. I mean, he was making he was always making money. He didn't go to a job just to be a regular employee. He was always finding a way to make money and big money at it. Well, that's how I met this guy. Fast forward to, back to when my depression time came, I reached out to this guy and I told him, like, look, man, I'm about to lose my home. I got a kid. I don't know what to do. I need money fast, and I know you can help me. Well, he tells me, all right, look, basically what I need you to do. And at that time, he was working for the cartels. So he's like, I'll start you off small. You help me out. I'll pay you pretty good. So at first I started following him around, and basically my job was make sure nobody followed this guy. Every time he went to an underpass, I would stop my truck right there in the middle of traffic so no one could come around or go to the underpass. And I would sit there about 5 or 6 minutes, people. I had a whole line of people nobody could follow. Once he felt he was safe, I'd jump underneath, I'd move a wire and turn the truck back on and let's go. And he would pay me pretty good money. So from there, like I was making more money helping him, just watching his back, than my regular job. So I asked him, like, hey man, can you help me, get into this game? And their thing is they were selling cocaine, and they were selling massive amounts of cocaine. So to make a long story short from this, I started working with him and the guy that he works for. We're going to call him Brain, Pinky and the Brain. That's going to be their names. So basically, they brought me into this, what's called the game here in America. They call it the game. He brings me in where, we're picking up product and down south of the border. We're bringing it here. We're distributing. Everybody, we're handling hundreds of thousands of dollars, $200,000 or $300,000 at a time. I go from not having any money and losing my home, and the bank, I think they wanted $27,000 at the time in order for me not to lose my home. Well, I was able to get that money in 2 weeks and pay them before I lost my home. I went from no money to making $7,000 to $13,000 a week as a peon. And well, I started, living this little flashy lifestyle that I liked. I was giving my parents money. My son had everything he needed. I was 3 or 4 girlfriends. I was traveling. I was doing this. I was doing that. And slowly but little, they started pushing me into the game deeper. I started seeing things that were just, questionable here and there. And I was going through this. My depression was over, but I was still having problems sleeping. My anxiety. I went to go see a doctor. Doctor says you need to go do some exercises or got to put you on pills. So I start doing exercises. I started getting into MMA, boxing. I would spend because I had a lot of free time. I would spend about 48 hours a week at the gym. And I mean, I was doing marathons, I was doing mud runs, I was really active. I mean, with a matter of I think 6, 8 months, I lost like 45 pounds. So one day, me and Pinky were drinking it up, and I'm telling him I could do this, I could do that. I'm like, man, I just did a 10-mile run, and I feel great. I could have probably did more. I feel good. I can have sex like a porn star. Man, you won't believe the things that I can do. And Pinky was one of those guys. He would always want to shut you down or bring you down. And he tells me, "Oh, so you think you're the shit, huh?" And I tell him, "Yeah, I know I'm the shit." He's like, "Well, I got this little fun run. If you're in it, you want to try it?" And I'm like, "Man, I'll take whatever the hell it is that you got, and I won't think twice about it." So he goes, well, "You're gonna have to go to Mexico, and you're basically gonna be running across the Mexican side to the American side, strapped down with about 20 pounds of cocaine." And I'm like, okay. He's like, are you sure? I say, yeah, man, fuck it, let's do it. Like, am I gonna get paid? He's like, yeah, you're gonna get paid. I'm like, well, fuck it, we're already doing it anyway. I'm like, I'm already running, I'm already doing this. Let's just see what happens. And he said, well, you're gonna be running in a group. You're not gonna be doing it by yourself. You're gonna have a guide. So I agreed to it. We go down. I'm not gonna mention no names of these towns, but we go out about an hour out of this town that's right on the border. So when I get there, he drops me off and he tells me he's going to be waiting on the other side for me. I meet up with this guide and about 10 native guys from Mexico. Not Mexicans, but these are native people. These people are like 5'4", 5'2", 5 foot even. They brought them from the mountains. So I'm sitting here, fancy, dressed up with my Nike shoes and, wind sprints and, a headband all dressed in black, ready to go, get to running. So I'm trying to talk to these guys and, hey, how you doing? It's all in Spanish though. I'm all, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How long you've been doing this? And none of these guys are talking to me. And the guy, he's like, don't talk to them. He's like, they're here to do a job just like you. They're not like you. Apparently you got pool and you want to do this for fucking fun. They're not doing this for fun. He's like, they're getting paid. I'm like, well, goddamn, chill out. Like we're about to do something that, might put us in jail for the rest of our lives. And, we can't have a little fun talking about it. So anyway, they give me my pack. And as they're giving my pack, the guy pulls out like these burlap sack cloths, maybe about 12 inches long by 6 inches wide. And he gives it to me and he tells me, put this on your person. Do not lose this rag. Do not drop it because your life depends on this rag. And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? He says, I'm not playing with you. You need to grab this rag, put it in your pocket, tie it around your fucking neck, on your arm, on your foot. I don't give a damn where you tie it. Just do not fucking lose it because this rag will keep you from dying. And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with the motherfucker. And he gives me a zip tie. He's like, zip tie it around your fucking, to your shirt. Okay, so I zip tied, to make this guy happy and keep him the fuck off of me. And like at this point, I'm already mad at the guy. It's not what it turned out to be, but I'm like, hell, I'm about to get paid a good money because they're gonna pay me $2,000 per pound that I ran across. So anyway, we start off running. We get to jogging, and we're supposed to be jogging all night long, like marathon runners, all fucking night long. And I'm ready for it. I'm not worried about it. Whatever. It was nice. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. We're running almost a full half moon. It was a half moon, really. And it was bright. There was no lights, no cities, no nothing. I mean, you could see everything by the moon. And the guy that told us, if for any reason you get lost, you see that tower over there with that flashing light, that's our destination. You're going in that direction. He goes, he tells me, he goes like, he's like, these guys can run. They've already done this before. They're not, they're not rookies. Like, you're the one. He goes, if you fall behind, make sure you keep going to that place and you'll have 2 hours to catch up with us. He never told me how far of a distance it was. We were just going to be running all night long. So we start running. We're running. About an hour and a half goes in. We're going in, this desert. We're running. And out of nowhere, behind me, I hear this, like, the best as I can describe it is like horses just jogging, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell is the horses doing out here? So I'm running, still running. I'm in the back of the line. And all of a sudden, I look back. I see these 6 big ass wolves, like silhouettes, just running. I mean, I know what a fucking wolf is. I'm a country boy. I grew up in the country. I'm looking back and I'm like, God damn it, those are some big ass fucking wolves. And I talked to our guide. Hey man, there's big ass wolves right behind us. I hope you know that, right? I hope you have a gun. I hope you have something because I didn't bring shit. And this guy turns around, looks at me, and he just looks forward and keeps running. And I'm like, motherfucker, are you not listening to me? There's some big ass wolves right behind us, and they're just trotting along. I'm like, do you not understand what the fuck I'm telling you? You got these big ass wolves the size of a fucking horse, and I'm starting to panic. And he looks back at me and he tells me, you need to shut the fuck up and keep running. I mean, just like that, just like this guy's not flinching. The guys that are with me are not flinching. By this point, these animals broke off in a pair of threes, 3 to my right, 3 to my left. And I'm sitting there looking at them, and they're just running along. And these son of a bitches are big. And what they're doing, they're running. You can hear them yipping, talking to each other. You can hear the growls. You can hear sniffing. Like, as they're running, they're breathing. They almost sound like horses. And you can hear every time their foot hit the ground, boom, 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 boom. And what's funny, like, I think they were doing that on purpose to maybe scare me, because at one point, like, you couldn't hear them running, and then all of a sudden you could. It's like they were doing it on purpose, like boom, 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 like. But the thing is, they were not being aggressive, and they're looking at me. I'm looking at them. One of them looks me in the fucking face and it smiled like I used to raise pit bulls back in the day. When them dogs were happy, I used to scratch under the chin. They get this big old smile. That's what this damn thing did. It smiled right at me, and it had to been maybe about 15, 16 feet away at the most. And what was weird is that they would run, and they would like maybe somersault, and then they would stand up and they would run on 2 legs. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, motherfucker, it's a werewolf. That's a werewolf. I'm looking at a damn werewolf. I'm flipping out. I'm looking to the right and the left. These things are running circles around us. And I'm sitting here talking to the guide. I'm like, hey man, do you see what the fuck is going on? Do you not see these animals? Do you, like, am I the only motherfucker that's seeing this? Like, at this moment, I'm thinking like, maybe my brain is tripping out. And he just looks back at me. He tells me, do we have a problem? Do I need to fix this problem? And usually when somebody tells me about a problem in this situation, that means either you shut the fuck up and do what you're told, or you might not make it to the destination we're going. So I'm just sitting here worried. I'm running. I'm looking side by side. And like, okay, so I start figuring, okay, these animals haven't done anything to me yet. If they would have wanted to, they would have done it. Because either they're going to kill me or these animals are going to kill me. Either way, I'm fucked right now. So I just kept my mouth shut, and I kept looking forward and running. Every now and then I would look to the sides, and these things were they reminded me of dogs in the park sometimes when they're out there running, playing, yippering, hollering, and they would, I guess they would communicate and have a good old jolly time. They never once growled, never once showed any teeth, never once pulled their ears back. Because when, canines usually are aggressive, though, the ears will flicker back and they'll show teeth. These things never did that. But they were very big and they were very scary. They ran with us for about an hour, 45 minutes, maybe 2. And then all of a sudden they just turned around and ran back. And we ended up going towards that tower. The whole time I'm there, I start analyzing things in my brain. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not stupid. I saw these things. I could hear them. I could smell them. They were kicking up dust as they were running, and no one else is flinching but me. So apparently these guys know that these things are out here. The guide in the front knows that they're here, and they're not worried about it. So to cut a long story short, when we get to the end, my friend Pinky picks me up, And I'm sitting there, and he's all like, he picks me up and chunks me a beer. He's like, "How'd you like your run?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker, you're not gonna believe what I saw." And as he's driving, he turns on, he looks at me dead in my face, and he tells me, "What did you see, Sancho?" Just like, when a parent talks to a kid that they already know, that they already told them what was gonna happen. He's like, "Sancho, talk to me. What happened? What happened?" Like talking to me like I'm a little kid. I'm like, "Son of a bitch, I just seen fucking six werewolves. Six fucking werewolves I saw." And he looked at me, smiled. He goes, "That's it? Six werewolves?" I'm like, "You fucking know these things are for real?" And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I want to hit him in the fucking face. I want to choke this guy out. This guy, like, you didn't tell me they had fucking werewolves. And he said, "Would you have believed me if I told you they had werewolves out here?" And I stopped and I thought about it. And I'm like, well, I don't really believe myself right now. And I asked him, I'm like, well, if they have werewolves, I'm like, so that means like what? He's like, man, he sit there and he tells me, "Sancho, if you really understood the world the way I see it and what I've seen, there are things that there's even more things out there that you wouldn't believe." And I go, I just, being a smart ass, I tell him, "So you're gonna tell me next that fucking vampires are real?" And he looked at me. He goes, "Yes, they're very real." He goes, "A lot of them sit at the heads of offices. They pretty much tell people what to do. They run very powerful positions." He said, "You may not ever see one, but they are around." And after that, I was just kind of like, I mean, it was like somebody took a gun and put it to my head and just pulled that trigger, and like my mind was blown. Because I've seen Bigfoots before. I had no problem with a Bigfoot. I've seen them quite a bit in my life as a kid. My dad seen them. Bigfoots wasn't a thing to me, but werewolves, vampires, fuck it. It, that day I got a very, very rude awakening about how this world is. And once that happened, I started working with them even closer, where they would start inviting me into their circle of higher ups at the hierarchy at the cartel levels. They had psychics. I've had a psychic woman, and I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this, but some of y'all may not believe that there are empaths out there. I am an empath, and I can smell people. I can smell pregnant women. I can smell shame. I can smell fear. There's things that I don't like people touching me, because I absorb their feelings, their terrors. I don't know why it was like that, or why it's like that. But I remember going down to Mexico one time, and we're talking to a leader down there, and we're gonna call him 20 just for shits and giggles. But this guy, he was the top of the food chain. This guy had millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and he sits me down, and he wants to know who I am, what I do, how it is that I came into the ranks, and how I climbed up so quick. And I mean, this guy, there's nothing that this guy didn't know that I did already for the cartel. And he brings in this woman, and she touches my hand, and as she touches my hand, it literally felt like death just touched my hand, and I mean, it hurt. And even to this day, and that was about 7, 8 years ago, and like my hand still suffers from that touch. Like, I don't have arthritis, I don't have any problems. I've already been checked out medically, but that woman fucked my hand up. I don't know what she did or how she did it, but basically she turned around and looked at number 20 there and told him, "You don't have to worry about him. He's not gonna rat us out." And at that moment, when we left that meeting, I asked Pinky, I'm like, "What the fuck was that? What was that all about? Who the hell is that woman? Like, what the fuck is wrong with my hand?" And he goes, "Well, remember when I told you about things not being right?" He goes, "That woman can see into your soul. That woman can sit there and tell who's betraying and who's not." And I mean, I didn't need to hear any more from him other than that, because man, when that woman touched me, it felt like death was crawling up my hand, like literally, and it felt like my hand was numb for days. And like even to today, my hand will go numb. It feels like it's in pain, like it's gonna fall off sometimes because of that woman's touch. So
And what'd you tell
that's
that woman?
I like, "Bitch, don't touch me ever again. I don't know what the fuck you are or who you are. Don't ever fucking touch me again."
And what she
And
go back and kill 20.
she basically told him that I was a trustworthy person, that I was not, I was a loyal person, that that I wasn't going to betray the organization.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, man. That I'm sure a lot of the listeners have probably their minds blown with that. Dark Waters and I have been talking about how he theorizes there are migration patterns of these things going from the Appalachian Mountains down and crossing the border into South America. So I've been trying to find personally information on the dogman in South America and south of the border, on the border. And when I interviewed Jody Cook, we didn't go into this a whole lot with North American Dogman Project, but he was telling me that he's been in contact with several Border Patrol agents and police officers on that area that say that not only have they had several encounters with dogmen on the border and that they are aware of them, but they also found several mutilated bodies that they suspect are results from that. Um, so there's lots of that stuff going on, and then I think Dark Waters put out a show one time about a Chinese group that paid a cartel heavy money to get their family across the border, and they were loaded up Jeeps and Humvees with 50 caliber machine guns to get this Chinese family across because they were being paid so well by the cartels. And so as they were coming across, they encountered several of these dog men, and not all the Jeeps and Humvees, even with 50 caliber machine guns, made it back alive. But they were able to get the family across. That was the story. So, but what you're saying has gigantic implications because it's saying that, like you said, these guys knew what was going on. They knew they were going to be there. They gave you the rags, and tell people what the rags smell like.
Oh yeah, yeah. The rags, they smell like urine, wet dog, and I don't know if there's a hunters out there that'll know what I'm talking about. Whenever blood gets dried into like a carpet, it has this smell of decay. It's not a rotting smell, but a decay smell. Because rotting, it's like when the guts and the innards, they make this horrible smell. I mean, the decay smell is horrible, but it had blood attached to it. And I know for like sometimes whenever, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know about me. But like I said, I used to raise pit bulls, and we used to go coon hunting with them, hog hunting with them, and whenever we we wanted something, like let's say a coon, we had a coon skin, and we put it in the dog's nose, and okay, this is what you fetch. And then sometimes, you know, a dog when it lays down, it knows what it smells like. So I'm pretty sure that these people had these animals laying on these rags or these sacks or burlap sacks, whatever you want to call them, and they were cutting them up and giving them to me, and that was signaling to these animals, hey, they're part of us. You don't mess with them. Leave them alone. And that's what, because I mean, this guy specifically told me, do not lose this because this is your ass. This is your lifeline. This, and at first it didn't make no sense. It made plenty of sense once everything was done, and my brain marinated on it, and I started putting one, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and then all this other stuff started coming together, and I started connecting it. Like I said, it was normal to them. These people, like, they all 10 of the runners plus the guy, they knew. No one ever flinched. No one. I mean, I was like on a sore thumb. First of all, I'm 5'6", and I was the tallest son of a bitch in this whole group, and you know, I'm the odd man out. So, and
Right.
I mean, it was very real. Like I said, this guy, turned around. He told me, do what you're supposed to, shut the hell up, and keep going. And the thing with that Asian people getting attacked, I think the cartel that was sneaking them across through was not from that territory, and basically they were cutting through somebody else's territory that was guarded by dogmen, and that's why those Humvees were important to bring these people up, because a lot of people are like, well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Well, somebody gives you $50 million to get them across. Trust me, you're gonna think about the best way. Okay, you're gonna give me $50 million, give me half up front. I go buy a platoon of cars. I go buy some mercenaries. I go buy plenty of 50 cals and bullets. That's why that happened. Because I mean, I'm guaranteeing you, they had to have cut through somebody's property.
Right. Yeah. So, but the implications are not only are cartels using these creatures, but in order for the cartel to be using these creatures, they have to be extremely well connected at the highest levels of intelligence.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
mean,
one thing that people don't understand is it's the U.S. intelligence that runs all the cartels. Period.
yeah. Yes.
And
Yep.
nothing happens there without their consent, and they run the whole thing. So this
Yep.
whole war on drugs is all bullshit. It's all
Uh-huh.
a lie. Everything we're told is a lie. That our
Yeah.
government is looking out for us is a lie. That you need to take vaccines for your damn health is a lie. It's all bullshit. And now we've entered a new phase where everything's going political to one side. And if you disagree with that, well, you're silenced. You're shut up. You're removed. It's a whole new communist Marxist system. And in communist and Marxism, they don't allow opposition. They don't allow any opinion that differs from their own. So they silence their competition. That's how they deal with it. So I can tell you everything I've learned with all the study and research I've done is everything I've ever been taught in my life is a lie, including mathematics. You want to get into mathematics on like the higher levels, it's completely different than anything we're taught in school. You're taught in school things that are going to lead you in dead ends or in circles. Even the church lies about the history of the church and lies about things that went on in our ancient past, like the giants and the fallen angels. They don't get into any of that. They don't teach that. They don't teach that in seminaries. They don't teach that. They don't teach that in theology classes. And that goes with Protestant, Catholic, whatever. And you try and bring up any of that kind of stuff, and they start shutting you down right from the start. We're conditioned and controlled of what you're allowed to believe, what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to do. Think how many jobs I've got friends of mine that are doctors, medical doctors. Man, if they try to disagree with the establishment on any of their medical training, then they lose their credibility, they lose their license, they lose their jobs. And that's how our system is built. I used to be a state trooper. I was a police officer. Man, if I try to talk about this stuff, the state police, all my trooper buddies now think I'm insane for talking about this stuff until they end up seeing them. We had a trooper down here that had a dog man jump on top of his car and try to break through his windshield and rip him out the car. And he had all this on his dashboard camera, brought it to the sergeant, showed it to him, and they said they made the whole thing go away and acted like he was crazy if he ever brought it up again. You know, he ended up retiring from law enforcement as a result of that. I'm still trying to track that dude down, but yeah, it's crazy. So and but people have to. I'm right now. I'm watching on Amazon Prime about the Narcos show about the history of the cartels, and on Netflix they've got a whole entire multiple series on Narcos and the history of the cartels. And there's a lot of good information there. But the most important point is, it's the U.S. controls the whole thing. We bring in the drugs, and then we arrest people for using drugs. You arrest them on both ends of the spectrum. But we control the entire system, and if they have access to dogmen, then it's only because they've made deals with super high powered people here that have access to those programs. And obviously, like you said, they're favoring some cartels over others because not all the cartels have those things. And that's why that one cartel cutting through the area had to hire the Chinese, had to hire them to get the big guns across in order to get that family safe. And like I said, not all those vehicles made it across the border alive, you know. But apparently the family, I believe, did. That they had it like in the center of this caravan. But anyway, so it's crazy that people know about that. Tell me this, without going into too much detail that could possibly get you in trouble. Can you explain anything else about the cartels, the current situation, what it's like there, what it took coming up in them? Because I think that's things that viewers would be interested in. Sancho? Hello? Oh. I'm not hearing him. Are you on mute by any chance, Sancho?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You cut off
Okay,
there.
sorry, I don't know what the hell's wrong with this phone. You can hear me right now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I've
okay.
been listening to everything you said.
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of people here in the South, they have this big misconception that there's only one drug cartel, which is Los Zetas, and that's far from the truth. There has to be at least 13 major players.
Uh-oh. We just lost him. Of course, start talking about this kind of stuff, and this is what happens. Anyway, just be patient, and hopefully he will follow the link and come right back. But yeah, just buying him some time. Um, yeah, so it really I had never heard of the cartels actually running dogmen, and the fact that they gave them those cloth rags. Right here, he's coming back now. The fact that they gave the cloth rags tells you a lot about about how connected they are, because they obviously were training with these things and working with them. Hold on one second. He's trying to come back in. I'm trying to talk to him. So they obviously knew these creatures and had been training with them. So and they had the rags to give them that had their scent on it.
Can you hear
Sancho,
me?
you back? You back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right. I don't know what the hell happened to my phone, but I mean, it just
Par for the
it.
course. Drive on.
All right. So let me. Can you still? Let me. Well, you asked about the information about a cartel. I'm just going to name one specific one real quick so people really understand that the American government has their hands tied into this. Like I said, everybody thinks there's just one major group of cartels in Mexico, which is Los Zetas, because that's the most famous one, and that's not true. There's quite a few of them, and I'm gonna talk about Los Zetas because they were, I think it was the Mexico's top 30 infantry guys. I mean, these were the best of the best of the best that Mexico had. It took 30 of these guys. They were brought to states and they went through the Navy SEAL training. Anything and everything the Navy SEALs knew, they were trained on here, like combat, communications, intelligence, um, war, anything you could think of. And then on top of that, they brought in the Israeli army, and the Israeli army topped it off with how to torture people. So these people down here didn't just pick this shit up. They were taught by the Americans. And basically, once they went back to Mexico with what the Americans taught them, they basically ended up being hired hitmen for the Gulf Coast cartel, because the Gulf Coast cartel paid these guys millions of dollars compared to the $30 a week they were probably earning through the government, Mexican government. And from there, they started teaching the Gulf Coast cartel everything that they knew from the Navy SEALs and started setting up their own camps and these private ranches. And not only were they training Mexicans, they were training people from the South America, Central America, and all these other countries. Like Africa was getting trained on this shit too. And the thing about it is, once the Zetas figured out that, hey, you know what, we really don't fucking need this cartel, we can start our own. And from there, they started causing havoc. 30 guys against the damn near two states in Mexico, and they took it smooth the fuck over really quick with what they knew. Um, a lot of these, when I was down there, I ended up meeting very powerful lawyers, senators here on the American side, people that were supposed to be protecting us, and I mean us as Americans, and they were not doing that. Hell, I was robbed by two sheriff counties in two different states, and it's funny that they knew who I was, what car I was driving, and I always try to cover my tracks really well. I'd always get like two rent a cars. I'd drive one to a specific location, like let's say to a mall, get out of that car, go run through the mall, get on the outside of on the other side of the mall, and drive off. And I mean, these some bitches knew who I was. I've been robbed for $15,000 the first time and $7,000 the second time. They took guns from me and they took drugs from me, and they just let me walk. I kept walking on by so I could, probably get robbed again.
Right. Yeah. And that's something, the concept you're talking about where the US trains these kind of elite soldiers. That's something we've been doing all in our history. For example, I went through infantry school at Fort Benning, Georgia. And at Fort Benning, Georgia, they have what's called the School of the Americas. And in the School of the Americas is where we take Saddam Hussein's people and we train them how to be pro soldiers. We take Osama bin Laden's people and we train them how to be pro soldiers. We literally, all the so-called enemies of the U.S. or to freedom or terrorism, we've created each one of them, going back to Gaddafi back in the day with Ronald Reagan. And we've created all these people. We create our own enemies, and then we use them as pawns to serve us at any time we want. And then when they don't serve us anymore, or we've got a new situation with a new group, then we go in with the military, make up some sob story, and we wipe them out and start over. And that's exactly what happened with Gaddafi. It's exactly what happened with Saddam Hussein. It's exactly what happened with Osama bin Laden. It's exactly what happened with Colombia.
You want me to tell you what I did in Afghanistan?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so when I was in the military, I was one of the first few people out there to hit Afghanistan. I really don't want to mention the towns because that would narrow me down in a group really quick. But our main job was to grab any vehicle that was out there, salvage it, and bring it back. If it couldn't be salvaged, destroy it so where the enemy couldn't use it. That's what we were told. Well, the whole time I was out there, never once did I have to recover anything. And what I did do a lot of was guard poppy fields. And the first time we went out there, and from what I noticed, there was no army. There was nobody fighting us. We were kicking in a lot of doors and terrorizing people. And well, one day they tell us, "Hey, man, you're going to be pulling guard duty." So they loaded us up, 6 of us. They take us out to this giant field, and they tell us, "You're going to be watching this. Make sure nobody just, hurts these people." They had Afghanis going in through these rose bushes. They said they were rose bushes. So we're out there, and I'm looking, and me being, because I'm from Mexico, I know what poppy flowers are. I know what they are. It's the shit that you make heroin with. That's what the FDA needs. And Afghanistan controls about 80% of this multi-trillion-billion-dollar industry. And a couple of the guys there got pissed because they wanted to see some action. They wanted to kill some Afghanis. They wanted, I don't want to be racist or anything, but they called them sand inwards, and they wanted to kill him. And I'm like, why do you want to kill somebody that you don't even know what the hell's going on? And he's like, well, they got us out here guarding these rose bushes. And I tell him, like, you're about a fucking dumbass. I said, you honestly think these are rose bushes? And he looked at me, he's like, well, what else are they? I go, where in the hell have you ever seen people cutting into these buds and milking the hell out of them? I said, that's the stuff that they need to make heroin with. That's the stuff they need to make all this medical pills, this multi-million-dollar FDA group. That's what they need. And we're here we're basically taking it over. And from what I gathered, this is from what I gathered, Al Qaeda was not our enemy. Al Qaeda was destroying these poppy fields because they were tired of the British, the Americans, not the Germans, the Russians in there. They were invading and basically taking over their product. Like they were basically whoring out the land, and they were turning people into drug addicts over there, and they were basically destroying that. And once they were able to get rid of Al Qaeda, because Al Qaeda was just trying to take back their country and liberate these people. And once we got there, opium went through the roof, 80% fold.
Right. And my sources and my research told me the exact same thing. In fact, if the viewers will listen, remember Pat Tillman, the former NFL star who gave up his NFL career to join the Ranger Battalion and with his brother. joined the Ranger Battalion because he wanted to defend America. He wanted to defend liberty, freedom, justice, all the propaganda they fill your head with. But he said he was calling back and telling his parents and his former coach that, hey, we're bombing towns here of innocent civilians. They don't have any soldiers. He says we don't have any soldiers, any insurgents. All we're doing is bombing innocent people that are complete civilians, women and children, and we're bombing them in the cities and rendering them homeless. And then he said, and all we're doing here is guarding poppy seed fields. He's like guarding the drug trade. He's like, I didn't give up my career in the NFL to come over here and defend our country, liberty and justice, only to be the oppressor against these people and to protect the drug trade. So he was going to come back and go public with that story. And that's why he was executed by our own government. And if you listen to the account, which I did, from his own mother and from the man who was standing next to him when he was assassinated, plus the doctor that did the autopsy, as soon as he looked at the body, the first words out of his mouth is, this was an assassination. And the kid that was standing next to him when he was assassinated, that was his battle buddy. And in this kid in the Ranger Battalion, I listened to him tell his story, and he says, man, he says he was struggling really hard in the Ranger Battalion to keep up and to get his stuff squared away, right? And so a lot of the guys in the Ranger Battalion started really picking on this kid and giving him a hard time. Well, Pat Tillman, being the hero son of a bitch that he is, born and bred, absolute hero of our country, he grabs this kid and says, listen, from now on, you're my battle buddy. You're my best friend. You don't do anything without me. I'm going to make sure that you're squared away. I'm going to make sure that you're caught up to speed on everything. And if anyone in this battalion has a problem with that, they'll have to deal with me. And that's the kind of guy Pat Tillman was. And this is the kid that was standing next to him that tells his story when he was executed. That day in the Ranger Battalion, they had some SF types that joined the unit, which is not out of the realm of normal for working in the Ranger Battalions. But they approached them. They saw it was friendlies coming, so they put their arms down, they raised their hands down, and they were yelling that they're friendlies. And they just walked straight up to them in plain sight and at close range and dropped Pat Tillman. And that's the story of the guy that was next to him, who said, I was wearing his blood all over me, this man that had done so much for me, you know? But he was being monitored, and he was going public when he got home about what all he was experiencing when he was in Afghanistan. And there's another thing people have to understand. There's case precedents for this, because during the Vietnam War, certain intelligence agencies in the U.S. were running opium in order to fund their organizations and their projects during the Vietnam War. This was connected with Shadow Company, who I served with people that were in that unit, okay? And that served in that unit during Vietnam. And they were supplying opium as a way to fund themselves and their operations, because they found that the drug trade, the illegal drug trade, and arms dealing supplies more money than almost anything else. And so if our military used that and our intelligence agencies before to fund themselves, do you think they're just going to turn that off and say, oh, now we're going to go a different route? No, they've controlled the entire situation. And that's what they're doing now. And it's a complete manipulation. However, sad to say, they have a new cash cow in the cartels, and we're hearing more and more about this, not only from sources of the cartels, but also from politicians around the world, and that is human trafficking. You have anything you can say about that?
Yeah. So before I say and I speak on this, I just want to let people know out there, when I started this, to get myself ahead in life, to get money, save myself. And the problem is I stayed a little longer than expected, or should have. I should have got out when the getting was good. I never harmed anybody. that was never my goal ever in this situation. Like I said, I don't like bullies. I don't like, I never did human trafficking. So as started climbing through the ranks of these people, because I was an earner for these people. I was a cash cow. But at no time, just because you are a cash cow and you make these people millions, they do not have a problem of putting a bullet in your head and putting you on the ground and let the next son of a bitch take your job. They don't give a fuck because you're disposable. So I started climbing through these ranks, and we're out in this ranch that was this church type thing. I myself am not a firm believer in the church because a lot of demons to me hide in the church. And when I say demons, I mean people. The worst kind hide in churches. And anyway, so we're there, we're doing a little shipment, running, making sure, and I'm in there, and I go into this place, and they have bars on the window. They have AC. They have armed guards out there in the middle. Like, why are they guarding it? Like, it just seemed weird that they're guarding this church compound type thing. So when I get in there, and we're picking up product, and I start wandering around, because they never once you pretty much get established, they know who you are. They let you run around like nothing. Nobody asks any questions. So I get in this big ass room, and I see these children, like African children from Africa, quite a bit of them. I see Native American children, like from Central America, South America, the Amazons, the mountains in Mexico. And I'm sitting there, and I see these kids locked behind cages, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and my heart, like, I just got this gut wrenching, horrible, the most sickest fucking feeling in the world. Like, what the fuck are these children? Because I have a son, and I always think of my son before I make extreme radical decisions. And at that moment, I'm like, what the fuck are these kids doing here? Because I know these African kids don't belong here. I know these, and they all are dressed different, and like they're taking off their clothes and giving them like normal clothes, like white t-shirts and shit, like basically to try to disguise the origins where they're coming from. So I leave the fuck out of there, and I go and I talk to my boy Pinky and Brain. Like, and I'm asking them, hey man, I said, do y'all know what's going on here? And they're like, we know everything. And from what I started gathering about this, they were pushing me further and further into this game. And I asked them, like, well, what the fuck is going on here? And they look at me and they just ignore me. And like I said, I'm one of those people. I make a scene. I've always gotten in trouble because I've always asked why. As a child, I always ask why. And that's gotten me into a lot of trouble, but at the same time, it's bailed my ass out of a lot of trouble. So finally, I grab my boy Pinky, and I turn him around, and I literally put my hands on him like, motherfucker, you need to tell me what the hell is going on here. What the fuck is going on? And he tells me, he's like, Curly, you think that we're dealing in serious money? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Quit fucking talking to me like I'm a kid. Talk to me like I'm a fucking adult. I know what the fuck is going on. Why are those children fucking in there? And he tells me, Curly, if you think that we're making money, he goes, those children are making billions of dollars for this fucking cartel. And he said, it's not just this cartel, it's a lot of cartels. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing with these children? Where are they going? He goes, they're going to America. Like, it was nothing. Like, what do you fuck you mean? Like, I know America doesn't open up arms. Like, oh yeah, let's bring in people. Especially with the hatred that's going on now. Yeah, let's all bring them in, and we'll take care of these children. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing with these kids? And he tells me, Curly, you look, hold on, I got tongue tied. He tells me, Sancho, what you need to do is shut the fuck up, and we talk about it later at the hotel. He's like, well, this is not the place to talk. We don't need to fucking talk about this. We need to fucking move out of here. Just grab your shit, and we'll talk about it later. I said, we're going to talk about this. So we get to the hotel, and basically he tells me that they're going to basically people in Congress, people in the Senate, people in powerful positions. People are buying them. And I'm like, why the fuck are they buying these children? He's like, what the fuck are they doing? He's like, well, some of them are going to be harvested for their organs. Well, damn near all of them. All their organs are going to be harvested. A lot of them are they're gonna get what I at this time I did not know what was that thing called androchromium.
It's called adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome, there you go. And that is the first time I ever heard of adrenochrome. And I said, what the fuck is that? He said, basically, they're going to torture this child. And as they're torturing it in serious pain, this kid's, his, what do you call that? Adrenaline is going to be rushing through his veins like there is no tomorrow. And they're going to drain this kid of his blood and they're going to drink it. They're going to bathe in it and do whatever the fuck they feel like with this kid's blood and his body. And at that moment, I had just the sickest fucking feeling in the world. I mean, I was fucking like throwing up. I couldn't believe it. Like, man, literally, like, that is the first time in my life I've ever felt so helpless that I could not do anything to save these kids. I couldn't go to the American side and say something about it, and I couldn't go to the Mexican side and say something about it because my fear is once they come after me, they're gonna come after my son. And not only that, probably my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister, they'll eradicate my whole family, and they'll just chalk it up to he owed drugs or he was they'll use the media as like this motherfucker was. They'll make up something. He had a horrible past. He was a gangbanger. We found this. We found guns. Like they'll find a way to destroy your life.
A friend of
They'll
mine,
slander you just to get
yeah, a
just
friend
so
of mine,
people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
a friend of mine from Mexico showed me a newspaper article in Mexico City one time where it was talking about quoting him making very pro-life statements that were against some of the politicians there. And I told my buddy, I said, "Man, that's awesome. Way to go. Good for you, man." He says, "No, John, you don't understand. They might kill my family for this." He was really worried that they would go and kill his family for having made those statements, reaching the newspaper down there and going public with that. And it was just about standing up for against abortion of children. Yeah, nothing major like we're talking about now, you know. And he was worried about reprisals for his whole family. And I never saw it that way until he brought that to my attention. Yeah, but for people who might not understand in the audience, adrenochrome, you did a very good job of explaining it. They tortured these kids in all kinds of ways to get their fear ramped up to the highest level. And it's at that time that they kill these children and they take the blood. Once the adrenal glands have secreted into the bloodstream enough sufficiently, and this is one of the biggest kept secrets of Hollywood and politics right now. In fact, there's a video right now by Jim Caviezel. I used to work for Jim Caviezel's manager, Beverly Dean, back in the day. Jim Caviezel is working on a movie right now with a former, I believe, Navy SEAL, where it's about child trafficking, and they're trying to get this movie made and get it out to the public. But even Jim Caviezel's saying he doesn't know if they'll be able to get this film out because there's so many politicians and high level people that are blocking this film and don't want it to reach the public. And he talks about the adrenochrome there, but it's one of the best kept secrets amongst Hollywood and politicians. And they believe by consuming the adrenochrome, it gives them a euphoric high way beyond what any drug does, synthetic or natural, way beyond cocaine or anything like that. And then, secondly, it also keeps them looking young for an extended period of time. As long as they keep taking this product, they stay looking young for a longer period of time, which is another enticing reason why people claim about it. And that essentially is a form of vampirism, that they're preying on the blood of these innocent children for themselves to be able to stay young, to look young and be healthier, so to speak, at the sacrifice of these innocent ones. But yes, so the child trafficking is one of the number one cash cows now that's even surpassed the drug trade. And they're using them, like you said, for organ harvesting. Everybody is familiar with the whole what's this guy recently in the news that was taken down? Epstein.
Epstein.
Epstein, yeah. People don't know the full story of the Epstein's Island. Epstein was creating an island where they were breeding children, and they had a whole cloning program where they're cloning humans. And the whole idea was they were cloning people there for organ harvesting. So if any of you have ever seen the movie The Island, right, with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor, great movie, great movie. But in The Island, it was like this futuristic society where they think that there was this plague on the world, and they win a lottery to escape the plague to go to some clean island that's left to live paradise. And really, it was an organ harvesting program where these were people that they were clones of superstars and politicians and elitists, and they were being raised thinking that they were one thing when they were just used for organ harvesting. If an elite needed a new liver, new kidney, they could go to these people. That's exactly what was going on at the Epstein Island. He had a clone program for power elites where they were cloning people for organ harvesting. Now, along with the organ harvesting of this child program, they also do the adrenochrome. They also use these children for pedophiles, and they sell them for pedophile use and sex slavery. And then they also sell them for ritualistic abuse. Whether you believe in that stuff or not, these high level elites and many politicians believe in this stuff, and they will sacrifice humans, oftentimes children, for their rituals, for their religious beliefs. I was in Rome studying at the Angelicum, the University of St. Thomas Aquinas, in Rome, and I was working on my master's degree there. And there was a girl I met from there who told me that she moved into a part of the Rome where all the diplomats lived. And she told me that she was approached. She told me this in front of her brother and in front of a group of other people. And she breaks down crying, telling me this story. And I've got witnesses that were there still that heard her tell the story. And she said she moved into the part of Rome where all the diplomats from all over the world lived for the Vatican. And she said that she was approached by them, and they said that they were involved in Satanism and the satanic occult worship. And they asked her, they tried to get her to join them, and they asked her if she would be willing to be bred by them to have children that could be sacrificed in blood rituals, in human sacrifice. And they asked her if she'd be willing to drink blood. And she flipped out over this and was scared to death for her life and everything else. And years later told me about this when I ran into her, and where she broke down just crying and crying and crying, telling me the story of what happened there that's been plaguing her conscience. And she didn't feel like she had anywhere to go or anyone to talk to about what's going on. And these are all super high level politicians from around the world, the same kind of people that run the UN, which, by the way, is very occultic, and a lot of their beliefs, if you look into that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's what these children are being used for. And right now on the border, people have been going down to the border now that the borders are wide open, and whatever your political belief is on that or whatever is not what's important. What's important is that while the border is wide open right now, there are tons of children that are being put through this child slavery program right now, all in the name of humanitarianism, all in the name of, oh, we're here to help, or we're here to do better for mankind and society. When they're smuggling these children around the world, they're being put in vehicles and vans and even on unmarked planes in Texas and being flown all over the place with no tracking, with no paperwork. with no evidence that they came through.
And when I asked them, I go, how are you getting these kids across unknowingly? How were you hiding them? Like, you have to hide them somewhere. People, he's like, the majority of these kids get hidden inside churches, inside like government programs, child protective services, you know, runaway teens type shit. They get hidden right in plain sight. And a lot of people, they're donating to these organizations. A lot of these people are like, "Oh yeah, sure," and we're doing the right thing. And I'm like, you're being brainwashed. This is a bunch of bullshit. That's why, like I told you, a lot of demons hide in churches. A lot of demons, especially Catholics. Not Catholic people, but in Catholic churches that I've seen. I just, it's sickening. It's a horrible thing.
Unfortunately, the Catholic Church is behind a lot of those projects right now, and people don't understand that. I'm telling friends of mine, and I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic, and I'm telling my Catholic friends stop giving money to the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah. I used to be Catholic, and I tell people, like, if you really stop and look, the Catholic Church has never once helped out. I know they helped out in World War II to help Hitler and eradicate Jews. I know whenever the Europeans came to the into America, Central America, and South America, they labeled the natives as savages. They demonized us in order to get their point across. The Catholic Church signed off on that. There's quite a few things the Catholic Church signed off to get gold, to get power, to harvest children.
I
I
will
mean,
say there's a difference between what the Catholic Church teaches and what people in power, the way that they run the church. And I say there's two different things there. I'm a Catholic theologian, and I believe strongly in Catholicism. I'm a convert from being a Protestant, and I feel very blessed to have learned and studied at the level that I was able to, that not everyone has the ability and access to do that. But that said, I'm completely against the leadership in the church right now because they're not following the teachings of the church. They're going against the tradition and doctrine of the church. But I'm not leaving the Catholic Church because of that. What I'm trying to do is protect the Catholic Church and trying to warn Catholics and others that what's being done is wrong and it needs to be addressed, corrected, and fixed. And I stand against a lot of the leadership right now, and especially Francis, who's a straight up communist. You look at anything that man does, it's communism all the way. And I believe that communism is 100% against the ideology of Christianity. So, but anyway, don't want to go too far off on those tangents or rabbit holes. But yeah, I just wanted to give people an understanding that right now with the open borders and all, the child trafficking is at an all time unfettered high and is unchecked, and it's a great problem. And people need to know this. This is not something you're going to hear about in your local news or on Fox or CNN. You know, so it's important that people know about that kind of stuff. Just like what you explained with the cartels running dogmen. You know, that's brand new to me. You know, I had no idea until you had said that that's even the situation. But that shows too how connected they are, and the only way they could be that connected is just like we were saying. We create our own enemies. We control the whole systems
oh
worldwide,
yeah,
and
they
that's
have anything America has. They pretty much have. They got missile launchers. They got drones. They got intelligence. They have anything and everything that we have. They have it too, and I know how they got it.
right, right. Which is from us, right? No shit.
Yes, which is pretty much, yeah.
Right, right. So it's crazy. People don't understand that. So also, um, tell them when you met that witch that time. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Dark Waters who joined the room. So shout out to my buddy there. But when you met that witch, what did she tell you as far as you being loyal to the program, and what else she told you?
So basically, when people get initiated into this, they're going to be sat down in front of
witch, a seance, or mind reader, soul reader, whatever the hells you want to call them, whatever makes you feel comfortable. They're gonna read you. They're gonna touch you. They're gonna want to basically. They took they they wanted me to cut myself. I'm like, I'm not a mutilate. Like you're gonna cut yourself, or we're gonna cut you. So I'm like, okay, like what do you mean? How much? He's like, just enough to get a drop or two blood into a bowl. So I cut myself on my forearm, drop a few bloods in there. This woman sticks her finger in there, just sticks it in her tongue, and tastes my blood. And she's sitting there just like it was heaven for her. And she's, basically told him, hey, you know what? This guy's not going to betray you, but he doesn't have the heart for this. And at that point, it pissed me off. And I'm like, bitch, I can do anything that y'all ask of me, I can do. And she says, no, you can't. She basically told me, no, you can't. And well, I found out that I couldn't. I had the balls to do a lot of things, but when it came down to these children, I didn't have the heart. I couldn't. So as the further I started going into this, um, you have to pay some kind of dues somewhere. You have to pay money. You have to do this. You have to do that. You might have to fight somebody and show them or whatever. So I asked him, like, man, you know what? At the time, like I said, I was making about $7,000 to $13,000 a week, making hellacious money. My guy Pinky was making about $50,000 a week, you know, and the main guy, which is Brain, we don't even know how much money that son of a bitch was making because he had $1 million home in Texas, $1 million home in Arizona. He had $1 million home somewhere in California, one in New York, and another one in Florida. And he tells me, he says, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. And I'm like, am I not sacrificing something already? I'm sacrificing my time. I'm sacrificing my freedom. He says, no, Sancho, that you're not understanding me. You're gonna have to sacrifice somebody. And at that moment, I'm like, well, hell, I'm like, do we got to kill somebody from the enemy or something like that? I mean, at that moment, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I could shoot somebody from afar and get away with it. Like, why I wouldn't have to see it, and, thinking stupid thoughts in my head. And he says, no, you're going to have to sacrifice a family member. And at that moment, once again, my heart just dropped and sank. And I'm like, what the fuck? And this is before I seen the whole children thing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you like? A family member? I'm like, why would I do that? He says, well, it shows them that you are committed and you're going to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And I'm like, and I'm still like, why does it need to be a family member? And he goes, he looked at me, he tells me, look, I don't know how, or I mean, he told me he doesn't know what family member they would ask for. He goes, it could be your mom, could be your dad, could be your grandma, your son, a sister. And then my smart ass says, I was like, can it be a cousin that I don't like? And he looked at me and he didn't even like, I laughed, and to him it wasn't funny. He goes, no, motherfucker, it doesn't work like that. It has to be somebody immediately and somebody that they know. He's like, because before I ever joined, these people knew where I lived. They knew about my son. They knew about all this other stuff. They knew damn near everything about me. So it wasn't like I could just walk away and say no to them. And at that moment, I figured that, that's another thing. I don't have the heart for this. I'm like, well, so long story short, I ended up staying at the level that I was at because I didn't have a heart to do a lot of things. I was out ready to, move a couple 100 pounds of cocaine or fight somebody, for a turf war, or, do what I got to do to handle some business. But to make the serious money they were talking about, I couldn't do it.
Right. And that's where the witch turned out to be right. That you wouldn't betray them. You were loyal, but you didn't have the stomach for what all it took, which was basically for you to basically kill your soul.
Yeah, I basically had to do that. And I mean, she was really good because at first I thought she was full of shit. And right in front of everybody, she told them what my vices were. She told me what my fears were, what my vices were. I mean, it's like this woman was in my brain, just like pulling information out like I never knew. And that, I mean, that like I've been in situations where I've been in the room with 6 foot, damn near 7 foot tall men that, that are ready to kill you in a heartbeat. And, I wasn't scared of them as much as I was this woman right here.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that'd be pretty creepy. And again, working in Hollywood, this is something else you hear about. I never came into any direct contact of this when I worked in Hollywood, but in research and listening to whistleblowers, many of them claim, hey, if you're going to be at high levels of Hollywood and you're going to be a star, then you have to be willing to play the game. And part of that game is you have to be willing to sacrifice the life of somebody you love. And it's got to be someone you love. And they know you enough to know who you love. They monitor you enough to know who you love. And if you look at a lot of stars, man, they've had a lot of family members die in strange ways. Like John Travolta's son dies in a bathtub. A bathtub. Who dies in a bathtub? Uh, 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 Mike Tyson's child dies on a treadmill machine. On a treadmill machine. All right. There was some rapper one time I was listening to. One of the, I don't know. I don't remember which one it was. I mean, it was something like 50 Cent or something big on that level. And they said that he was told, now I'm not saying that's who it was, but it was someone on that level. And that he was told and this is from a whistleblower, that he had to kill his mom. And he went out of town for a time, and the mom was killed while he was out of town. So he had an alibi and everything else, but was able to move up, And my own personal theory, and this is just me, nobody else, I think Vin Diesel sacrificed Paul Walker, his friend, in order to move up in the organization or to the next level. And that's just my own personal theory. I think that dude's a scum bucket. I've got friends that knew him before I got multiple friends that knew him before he ever got to Hollywood. And he was a scum bucket back in the day. And Paul Walker was a good person, really good person. And that whole situation, how he died, no, I can tell you right now, there's nothing about that was normal. That whole thing, he was murdered. And there's many, many stars like that are connected with this stuff. And in law enforcement, you're not allowed to believe in coincidence, and you're always trained to look for patterns. And there's patterns here. It fits. And then you've got whistleblowers that are talking about this stuff and talking about what's happening and how it's going down. The thing is, what we're told in the public and how things operate behind the scenes are two different universes apart. But Sancho, something else I wanted to get into with you was for the viewers is about how another Dogman story that you came across when you went to the elitist house. Can you get into that?
Yeah. So for a lot of you viewers that doesn't know what Sancho means, I don't know if I explained that already, but Sancho means the man that's with your woman in Spanish while you're not around. In the military, we call him Jody, the milkman, the guy that's always screwing your wife, because my vices were women. That was my vice. I wasn't a big drinker. I wasn't a pot smoker, a cocaine user. I never used it in my life. I just never saw this. But women, I loved women. Well, as like I told you, I was in the gym a lot. I was doing a lot of things, and I had, my body at the time was in perfect condition. I dressed nice, I didn't went too flashy with the gold, nice Rolex ring, nice trucks, big, $70,000 truck. I wasn't really too much into cars, but the trucks, love trucks. I started, moving around in these high society circles, as you could say, and I ended up meeting this one woman, and she was married, and she invited me over to her house, and I don't want to name the state or the town, but she lived in this place called Millionaires Row, is what they called it. The houses were fucking huge, and they were like right next to one another. There are some millionaires that they have quite a few acres. This place was just a house right next to a house right next to a house, and it was like just It was in a shape of an L, and this lady lived at the end of the L. Well, I go out there and, have a drink or two with this woman, and, we do our little business. I'd please her till she was done, and then I just get the hell out of there, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, this one day I get out and I have to pee. And, I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck if people look at me. I get out of the car. I'm coming out of the L, going to the straightaway to get out of this neighborhood. I get out of the car. I was driving a car at this moment, not a truck, because trucks at that neighborhood stuck out like a sore thumb. So I get out of the car and I go to pee, and I hear this roof, roof, roof dog barking, and I'm like, holy shit, that has got to be one huge dog. I mean, like literally the wolf, the sound was pushing air, and I could feel the air in the back of my ears. I'm like, man, that's got to be one huge ass dog. And I turn around and I see two of the biggest fucking Doberman pinchers in my life. Most Doberman pinchers, a tall one is about, 3.5 feet, 4 foot tall at best. These some bitches, like I said, I'm 5'6", and like they're behind this 20-foot iron gate, and they couldn't be no more than 30 feet across from me. And I mean, we're damn near at eye level. And I'm looking at both of them, and they're wearing these gold chains, like these big Cuban link gold chains. And I'm like, son of a bitch, those are some big old dogs. And woof, woof. And I mean, I could just feel it. And I think nothing of it. I zip myself up. I get in the car and drive away. Well, I go back again to this woman's house. Same thing happens. Go back out. I got to pee. Stop damn near in the same spot. And this time I'm just looking around and all these people. I'm like, man, I wonder how many of these people, know anything other than the world that they live in. These houses are all pretty nice, and like, how did they get them? Do they even know that there's a whole world out there suffering while they're living in high on the hog? And here comes the wolf, wolf, and I turn around and I'm fucking pissed. I'm like, motherfucker. And I look and hear these two dogs again, these big ass Dobermans. One's a red looking Doberman, like a light brown, they call him red, and the other one's completely black. And as I'm pissing again, and that dog's like, woof, woof. And in my mind, I just say, shut the fuck up. You're not gonna do shit. And out of nowhere, in my mind, I hear somebody say, I won't do shit to you. Is that what you think? And I just stopped dead in my tracks. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over, and the fucking dog is talking to me, and he says, you think I won't fuck you up? And I'm sitting there like, and he goes, I'm talking to you. Do you not think I will not fuck you up? And all of a sudden, this fucking dog stands up on his hind legs. And no longer is he 5'6". This motherfucker is damn near 7 feet tall. Like fucking huge. Next thing you know, the other red one stands up too on its hind legs. And I'm like, holy fucking Jesus. And I'm sitting there looking at these two dogs, and they're leaning on this car. And the one in the red, and I'm telling you, this sounds fucking like out of some kind of sci-fi movie, but in my head, I can hear these damn dogs talking. He's like, why? He's like, well, what the fuck are you worried about? The red one tells the black one. The black one goes, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. He thinks I'm playing with him. He thinks that I won't do anything. He believes that we're weak. And the other one's like, don't worry about him. Just, he's not doing shit. He can't do shit. He goes, he's over there. He's not over here. And the black one's like, let's just fuck him up. Let's do something. And then the red one is telling him, trying to talk him out of it, saying, what are we gonna do? Why would you want to do this? Like, what are we gonna do with the car? What are we gonna do this? And he starts giving him. He's like, I don't know, but I just want to fuck him up. And as they're talking, I'm just sitting there like just frozen, because I am listening to these motherfuckers talk to each other about me, and I mean, I'm just frozen in fear. I'm frozen, and they're standing up and they're talking, and I could see their hands, and I'm looking at them, and it reminded, for some reason, like I just had this thought of, like, you ever watch those boxing, or like a boxing movie when they're in the gym, and these two guys are sitting there talking about a punching bag, you need to do this, you need to do that, and like for some reason I was imagining that right then and there. And I mean, these some bitches are ready. Like, and I just at that moment I just snapped out of it, and I got in the car, and something told me to look back. I look back and I look up because it was a 2-story mansion, and there's a guy sitting there watching me. Not the dogs, not these two fucking Dobermans that are fucking just standing there like fucking humans that got hands, and he's looking at me. Now the car that I was driving was a fucking rental. I drive out of there, haul ass. Didn't think nothing of it. I'm here like, okay, I don't know. I might have got drugged, done something. I mean, I didn't take any drugs. I even on the way home, I went and bought CVS and pulled it. I got one of those at home drug kits, and I pissed in it to see if maybe maybe I've gotten drugged. Everything came back negative. No hallucinogens, no barbiturates, nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? That is just the strangest shit. Like I don't understand. Well, a couple days go by, and all of a sudden, I hear a knock on my door, and I get up there, and I live out in the fucking woods, in the middle of nowhere. This guy shows up with candy, flowers, and a card. And I'm like, well, who is this from? He's like, sir, I don't know. We were just paid, we're a flower shop, and they brought the chocolates and this card, and we're here to drop it off to you. Apparently the guy that I seen that night sent me a card that says, keep up the good work. Just know that we're watching, and leave my dogs alone. Don't mess with them anymore. And at that moment, I knew who the fuck. Well, I didn't really know who he is, but I knew what the guy. It was that guy. How the fuck he found out where I was at, because I didn't even live in that town. I lived 2 hours away from there. I was in a rental car. There's no way in hell he could have seen my license plate from where he was at. To know it was a rental car. I don't fucking know. But I mean, he clearly sent me a message. And so I'm one of those people that wants to know why or how. And I'm like, I'm going to get a fucking video or something, a picture of these goddamn dogs. So I go to the woman's house, repeat the process. I go back over there, but this time I'm not driving a car. I drive a truck. I get out of the truck real quick. I'm looking. I even, make a dog sound like, woof, woof. The dogs didn't come out. This time he had 2 German Shepherds. 2 big-ass German Shepherds, 2 bigger German Shepherds, but I looked down. They had regular feet like a dog. These were just plain dogs. They were just fucking big German Shepherds. So I'm guessing that this guy, I guess he didn't want these dogs seen again or whatever. And after that day, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't think I need to be here anymore. I don't want to outwear my welcome. And I never went back to that neighborhood or seen that lady again.
Yeah, that's crazy. So the implications of this are staggering, and this is the first story I've heard on this kind. And that is that just like the cartels are using dogmen, which they only got that from direct huge connections to the U.S. and U.S. intelligence agencies that run these programs. All right, which shows they're running these programs and working with the cartels. But in the same thing, the power elites that are connected enough are also using these things as private security program, where they're having one that looks like a Doberman, or instead of one that looks like a wolf, they have one that looks more like just an intimidating Doberman type style that they're using in plain sight almost, and as far as you said, you heard them talking in your head. You didn't hear them speaking out loud, right?
No.
Right.
It was all like, what is it called? Telepathically, I guess you said.
Right. And I've had instances like that. Not your situation, but I've had encounters where I hear conversations in my head of things that are going on at times. But also I remember reading in a Popular Mechanics article when I was in college that was saying, the U.S. Army is trying to develop a super soldier program, and in the super soldier program, We want to create soldiers that have super sight, super smell, super hearing, super strong, can jump over 50 feet over a house if they need to, can pick up a car if they have to, can run for long periods of time at high speeds without resting, can find their own food in the field without us having to deliver food to them, and wanted them to be telepathic, where they could communicate with each other through mental telepathy and not need communication devices or communication that could even be intercepted. And I remember very clearly reading that in college in a popular mechanics article that was put out by the U.S. military. Now, some of the things I've learned about the U.S. military is this: they don't put out some trash like that unless they already done it, unless they're already there. Okay, so that's one thing. And I've long suspected that in breeding programs that they have for these type of cryptids and others, that they do have some sort of a internal communication program where they can do a type of mental telepathy. Also, Dark Waters, when he does his show about Roger and Steve, the contractors he worked with that blew up the underground lab in China, and because they were creating hybrid creatures there, mixing human and animal DNA, it was like the island of Dr. Moreau in there. And they said two of those guys and their team said that they heard one of the creatures speaking to them completely telepathically. And it was asking, it told them, "We know why you're here, and I want you to kill me. I'm begging you to kill me." And one of those guys said, "Don't worry, your time's coming," because it was able to read their thoughts and knew that their real intention was to blow that lab up from the start, you know? So that happens. And people aren't aware of the secret space program. You know, Trump tried to come out saying we need a new military space force with our military that's equal to anything else we have, and that's great. But what people don't understand is we've had a completely working space force and space fleet called Solar Warden since 1980. Okay, completely operational, fully operational space fleet, and that was in 1980. You can imagine how advanced the space fleets are now, and we got that technology, by the way, from the Nazis. The Nazis they were the first to create all that, and they were very far ahead and advanced in their technology because of contact they had with alien species and the occult that gave them the knowledge. And in the space program, they talk about all the alien species they encounter. They all have psychic ability to communicate with each other. Humans are the only ones that just don't seem to have that ability or are just learning about it. But all these other races have that ability that they talk about in those programs. And I've studied that information as much as I've studied the Dogman information. And it's connected too at various levels, like Project Serpo, which I've told people before to check out and on serpo.org. All right. Project Serpo was a result of the Roswell crash in 1947. We found one alien body that was alive from that crash, and we were able to get salvage communication devices from the wreckage. And we told the alien to call home and ask for a ship to pick him up, a rescue ship. And they said at the current time it would take them 2 years to get back to the Earth to rescue this wounded alien. Well, about halfway through that trip, a year into it, this alien died due to its injuries sustained from the crash. So, but the U.S. by then figured out how to work the communication device and were able to come up with a rudimentary form of the language to try to communicate. So we connected with the craft that was already en route to the U.S. and we told him, "Listen, he died due to his injuries, but since you're already coming, why don't we do an exchange program?" And the exchange program was we sent 10 astronauts to go live on this other planet for 10 plus years. And they left one of their crew behind with us that was known as EBEN 2, EBE, Extra Biological Entity 2. And he lived here in our underground bases with us for a number of years. And these guys, the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, it was basically loosely based on this story. If you remember the exchange program at the end of the film, that was that where they met them out in the New Mexico desert kind of thing. That's what this was, and that's what happened, and that's where they wanted to meet because that typography is very similar to their home planet, so it was very comfortable for them. But we did the exchange program, and our astronauts that went did a detailed diary of everything that they experienced on this other planet, and they called it Planet Serpo. They described where it is and how long it took to get there, et cetera, and the daily life of dealing with these aliens and what their life and society is like compared to ours. And they did a detailed journal on this that was released in serpo.org. All right, serpo.org. You can go and read. One of the things they said is they had a genetic manipulation lab there where they mixed all kinds of different DNA of different species. And when we were given a tour of this lab one day, they said that in there were two dogmen that had humanoid bodies with canine heads, two dogmen that they had in capsules in a form of suspended animation. But that was part of their diary, that they had two dogmen there. So, but Sancho. So yeah, that's crazy about the story with their rich elites. But why don't you tell people about the story about the two girls in the woods?
The two girls in the woods.
Yeah, you know what I'm referring to? That
Um,
the time you decided to go play around.
okay, that one. um, yeah, let me think how I phrase that. I don't know how many people have children listening or something like that. I'd rather just
Sure.
so basically at this time I was dating this girl, a younger girl, like straight in college. She had to have been about 21 at the time. And I talked her into bringing her friend along to do some adult activities. And I finally talked her into it. And I was happy as a clown. I'm just, I'm about to get me, a threesome out of this. Um, well, made a reservation at a hotel, and I was getting everything ready. And the chick that I was seeing, out of nowhere, she just says, "Hey, I don't want to go to the hotel anymore." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? She's like, "Let's go somewhere different, somewhere exciting, somewhere, what's gonna be like wild." And I'm like, "Well, what the hell are you talking about?" She said, "Let's go to the lake." And I'm like, "Well, screw it. Let me just go to the lake." Well, my parents have a house out about 45 minutes away from a big lake, and I don't want to say the name of the lake either because it would put me, with the state I'm in. So I go to my parents' house, and I grab a few blankets, a lantern, a flashlight, and jump in the truck, and I tell my mom and dad I'll be back later in the morning. So we haul ass to the lake. Like I said, I've always been a Bigfoot believer. For man, I know they existed, yada yada yada, but these girls didn't. And I'm driving down to the lake, and once you get about 40 minutes into the drive into these woods, you lose all phone signal. No phones work down there whatsoever, and there is no lights. So basically, the only lights you got are from the truck. And we're going to this campground, and we're about 10-15 minutes away from this campground, and the chick, she tells me, "Hey babe, there's somebody running next to the truck." And I'm looking, and I'm like, I don't see shit. I keep driving, and she telling me, "Babe, there's somebody next to the truck, running next to the truck." I look out the window, I don't see nothing. And she's bothering me, and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up and don't worry about it. There's nobody out there. I'm doing 50 miles an hour. No human being can run that fucking fast." Because in my mind, I'm already in this situation that I'm about to get into. I mean, I'm like a billy goat right now. I mean, I'm happy. My mind is, I'm mentally in the zone already. I got my mind on something else, and out of nowhere, this girl starts to screaming, "Ah!" it's a fucking monster. It's a monster. It's coming for us. And about a split second later, the chick in the back starts screaming, "Oh my God, it's got big red eyes." And at that moment, I know that Bigfoots have red eye shine. They don't know it, but I know it. And like all of a sudden, the the zone I was in was no longer there. All of a sudden, I felt this fear and panic. And I have a truck that's got a 6-inch lift on it. So the top of my truck is about 7 feet tall. And I'm doing 50 miles an hour through these backwoods. And I'm looking and I can't see anything. I'm panicking. And all of a sudden, I get this bright idea to grab one of the blankets and throw it over the screen of the truck because it's very bright. Because when you're in complete darkness, whatever's in the truck is basically reflecting off the windows. The second I threw the blanket over the screen of the truck, it got completely dark. And as I'm looking out the window, this girl's on the floorboard. I see a huge, massive arm, like a chest muscle, bicep, tricep, and this huge arm, like taking up the whole window. And it's keeping up next to me. And I see this huge hand that's about the size of a bowling ball fisted up, and it's moving. And at that moment, I just go into, like, I guess, shock, fear. And I just remember turning around and looking into, like, straight ahead. And I don't know what happened to me. I might have got hit with some infrasound. I just went completely blank. Everything slowed down. It was in slow motion, and I could hear these girls screaming, but they sounded like they were like a mile down the road. I could hear "go, go, go" like so softly, like they were like a mile away. And I'm sitting there looking at this gauge and at the road, and I just honestly I didn't know what to do. And I don't know what happened, but I guess this girl threw something at me because something hit me. And the second it hit me, it snapped me out. And I remember hitting the gas, and I kept on looking out the window and at the car, at the speedometer. Once about 60 miles an hour starts hitting, I'm pulling away from this thing, and out of nowhere, this fucking animal just pushes the truck from one lane all the way into the other, this backcountry road. And I could, at this point, it let out this huge ass roar, and I'm like, I'm looking at it through the rear view mirror by the brake lights. And I mean, this thing was huge. I've seen Bigfoot before, but never that fucking huge. And it didn't look like any other Bigfoot that I've ever seen in my life. Because this one was not hairy, and it was just fucking ginormous. Like, if I had to judge its weight, that thing was anywhere from 800 maybe to 1,000 pounds, and it was well over 7 feet tall, easy. Because, like I said, all I saw was the bottom of pectoral muscle and its bicep. I didn't see a shoulder. I saw the elbow and a part of its abdomen. And I mean, this thing took up the whole window of the truck. Now I have a 4-door truck, 1 ton.
Right. And what type of creature would you describe it?
It had to have been a Bigfoot type creature. It was huge. Like, because I didn't see claws on the hands. It had legs like a human, like a man. The chest, I mean, it was like it was barrel chested. Like, it didn't have a tapered waist that goes, I mean, a tapered stomach that goes into the waist. I mean, it was kind of like barrel chested. Like, the son of a bitch was huge.
What did the hair look like?
Um, Kind of like it was black, maybe 2-3 inches long, but it wasn't like hair up on hair up on hair. I mean, because it was summertime, so I'm thinking this thing was probably either shedding or might have had mange. I don't know. It was just because, like, the Bigfoots I've seen, they have hair, like a gorilla type. They have, it's pretty hair. It's not matted up. This thing looked like the hair wasn't all there. The stomach was bald. The chest was a little hairy, and it had black skin for sure. The skin was black. As the face, I did not see the face very well. I didn't see the face at all, to tell you the truth. But I did see eye shine when I looked in the rearview mirror.
And that was red?
Yes, sir. Big old fucking apple size red.
So talk about what happened when the police got there.
Oh, okay. So these girls are freaking the fuck out. I mean, they're flipping out. What was that? What was that? And I'm trying to tell them it's a Bigfoot. Calm down. They're like, what the fuck is a Bigfoot? They're not real. They're not real. I'm like, well, bitch, you just seen it for your fucking self. She's like, that's not a Bigfoot. It's a demon. Yada yada yada. And when she's getting into it, and the other one's calling 911. This is where I learned that just because you don't have phone signal, it won't. You can call 911. Well, all of a sudden, the sheriff's department shows up, and they showed up quick. And right behind him was the game warden. Are you familiar with what a game warden is?
Yes.
Okay, for a lot of you people that don't know that are probably listening to out of states, that's the guy that he basically is like the state police. As long as there's woods and there's a refrigerator in your house, they can legally, here in Texas, they use them. Here, I know here in Texas and in New Mexico, they use them to go into your house without a warrant. They can legally go into your house without a warrant. And like they're gonna say they're gonna go in your refrigerator and look for your unprocessed deer meat. That's all they need. That's how these cops could get around without using warrants. Well, he shows up. The sheriff shows up. The sheriff is like, "What the fuck is going on?" And these girls are like, "We saw a fucking monster. We saw a monster. We saw this. We saw that. The thing was fucking huge." And I'm just sitting there, and you know, um, like I said, I've done Bigfoot research and podcasts. I've talked to people. I've talked to people that have had the Men in Black rate them, and nothing good ever comes out about. I saw Bigfoot. I got a picture of him by accident. Here it is. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you for some reason are lucky enough to get a picture of a dog, man, any kind of cryptid, your best bet is to keep that shit to yourself because nothing good of is going to come out for you. Oh, I'm going to be the first one. Yeah, no, you're going to be fucked. I will let you know that right now. So the cop is like, what kind of drugs are you on? I'm not on any kind of drugs. We are not even drinking. He's like, let me smell your breath. You smelled theirs. And, I'm already at the time, I'm 32. These girls are like, the one's 20 and the other one's 21. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing out here? Why are you even out here? Nothing good. This is already past midnight. And he's like, don't you know nothing good happens after midnight? And these girls are flipping out that they saw this monster, yada, yada, yada. They saw a demon. And, well, long story short, the cop doesn't believe us, the sheriff. He's like, you know what? You need to get the fuck out of here. You're wasting my time. I should put y'all asses in jail for fucking prank calling me. You motherfuckers are just, we basically we ruined his night. So he, the park, the game warden, is like, is anything you need from these guys? He's like, no. And he basically told him, hey, you know what, sheriff, you can leave, and I'll make sure these guys get out of here, and I'm gonna escort them out of the out of the facilities myself. So the sheriff takes off. We get in the truck, and we start going behind the sheriff. Sheriff's hauling ass out of there. I'm just creeping out of there. All of a sudden, the game warden turns his lights on me, turns on the lights to pull over, and he gets on the intercom and he says, "Turn back around and go to the campground." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, and I stick my hand out the window, and I like, why? When he's like, "Turn the fuck around and go back to the campsite." So I turn back around and go back to the campsite. He gets out, they get out, and they're like, "I need y'all's IDs, all of y'all." And I'm like, "For what?" I didn't. He's like, "Cause I want to know what the fuck y'all saw." And I'm telling him I didn't see anything. And the girls kept on insisting that I seen the monster. Like I didn't see shit. Well, obviously, I've learned through these little podcasts, and at the end of it, they tell him you saw a black bear. So my stupid ass tells him, "Hey, I saw a black bear." He's like, "Boy," he's like, "You think I'm fucking stupid?" And I'm like, "Sir, honestly, I didn't see anything. I don't know what these two bitches were talking about." I said, "We were out here to have some sex, and I don't know what they took or whatever. I didn't see anything. I'm just trying to get the hell out of here. I just want to go home at this point." And they basically wrote down 2 or 3 pages of what they saw, how did they described it, the vibration, how this thing was gurgling and vibrated the truck. And I mean, they were writing all kinds of stuff, and I did not write a statement. I refused to, and this son of a bitch was like, man, if I find out you're lying, and I'm like, look, man, I'm not lying. Like, what do you want me to tell you? I said, if give me that piece of paper, you tell me what to write, and I'll write it. But this guy was serious. His attitude was not like the cop at all. The cop thought we was, making fairy tales and just wasting people's time. This joker was being very serious. He was not playing. Okay, so he gets his information that he wants. We go home. On the way home, I'm getting screamed and yelled at by this girl that I'm possessed by, some kind of demon. That's why this creature's following us. This has never happened to her. And long story short, never talked to those girls after that day, because one of them, I don't know what happened, and the other one turned real religious. Like, she dedicated her life to the Lord because it was a life altering experience for her. Like, just
Probably would have been a life altering experience for me too.
yeah.
One thing I realized looking back on my notes is when you were running with the cartel and had those dog men approach you, run up with you, run circles around y'all, being playful and all that. One thing I didn't ask you is describe what those dog men look like with the best detail you can.
Man, the closest I can say that I can compare it to, so people understand, is the Van Helsing werewolf. They were very muscular. They were 6 to 8 feet tall. I couldn't tell you if they were male or female. Some of them were like gray, like the gray wolves. Some of them was like, two of them were completely black. They were different colors, like they were their own individual persons. And their tail was just like you remember back in the day. I don't know how, if like back in the day when your grandma made a broom out of like bristles.
Right.
Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah, when I lived in Italy, people still do that.
Yeah, that's exactly the yeah. If you look at those, that's how bushy this thing's tail was. Like, it wasn't like a fox's tail, like nice and fluffy with the point. And I know this son of a bitch was just bushy as bushy can be. The hands were like giant raccoon hands with claws. The feet were like dog paws, and like it was fun. It was funny. It was weird because they could be heard. Like, if they wanted to be heard, they would make like their feet stomp hard, and then all of a sudden they would just go quiet. Like they weren't even there. I mean, I could see them, but you really couldn't see them. And like every time their feet hit the ground, like you could see the dirt, but you couldn't hear the sound.
Right.
And I'm like, these son of a bitches are stealthy. And like they were just like they weren't even there. I mean, they were. You could see them. I can guarantee you, if it was complete darkness, there was no moon, and you were out in the middle of nowhere, these things could be walking right next to you. You would never know.
So,
And,
what color were their eyes? The best you could tell.
Amberish color, yellowish.
Okay, so a yellow amberish color.
Yeah.
And their legs, were they hawked backwards like a dog or more like human?
Dog. Those were dog.
Okay, so essentially they just look like a wolf, but just very large.
Yep.
How long did the snout protrude?
Maybe like 9 inches, a foot. Because like I said, they look like a wolf. It wasn't a short muzzle. It was
very pronounced.
Yeah, it stuck out pretty far.
Okay. Also, you had spoke earlier about being in Afghanistan. We've talked about here before on the show about the giant of Kandahar. Tell people what you told me about what the guide was telling you.
The little boy?
Yeah, the little boy in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So when I'm there, we're walking around, we get little tours, and we had this little boy that basically was a translator for us. And these people make their living, their whole livelihood, their currency, their food, their drink, everything comes from the animals they have, whether it be goats, donkeys, sheep. That's how they eat. That's what they trade. That's what they barter with. These animals are their life source. And at the end of the night, all the animals go with them into their homes. Like, they have this barn built into the house. Like, they could literally go from the kitchen over to the barn, and the animals are there. Well, on the north side of town, the south side of town, the east side of town, on the west side of town, they had these corrals, these pens. And I would notice that every night they would put animals in there, whether it be a donkey, a sheep. They put two sheep, two donkeys, two goats, and a couple of chickens there. And we're walking around, and I asked the little boy, hey man, why do y'all put animals out here if y'all take all the animals with y'all? And the little boy goes, well, you see all these mountains around us? I go, yeah. He goes, giants live there. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go, man, come on. I mean, quit put like, well, why do you have these animals out here? The kid's like, no, we're serious. These animals are sacrifices to the giants. He's like, the giants come down here, they get what they want, they go back in the mountains, and they leave us alone. He goes, as long as we keep putting food out here, they come and get it and they leave. End of story. We're happy, they're happy. And I'm like, fairy tales and bullshit. Like I said, at the time, my mind was very narrow, very closed off. Like I said, I knew Bigfoot existed, but that was it. Nothing else. It can't be no more than Bigfoot. And like I said, as the years go by, I just keep on getting bombarded with things that are blowing my mind. I never saw a giant. I've heard plenty of stories when I was out there that giants roamed in the hills, but the little boy is the one that blew my mind when I found out, hey, you know what, this is for real. Now that I look back at it, this kid was not lying. And then I remember I heard a story with L.A. Marzulli where they talked about the giant of Kandahar in Afghanistan. And at that moment, when I heard that story, I started thinking about that little boy, and I'm like, son of a bitch, he was not lying, And especially what I know now, I know he's telling the truth.
Right.
And I was telling you, like, if these people are creating dogman, what's the government's, why is it stopping what's stopping the government from hunting them down and using their DNA to make their own creatures?
Right. And that's essentially what I and many others claim they're doing.
Yep.
They're collecting DNA from these, and they have breeding programs where they're trying to do super soldier programs with these creatures and use them for different military purposes, just like you told about with the cartel using them for running as protection across the border. I mean, what's going to want to go against that kind of thing? You know what I mean? So, and that's just one versus multiple ones. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You also had another sighting one time when you were driving between Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah. So went to the casinos, came back. I was messing around with the chick out there in Louisiana, did my thing, came back, and I stopped out in the middle of these two towns. One was on the side of Louisiana, and then one side of Texas. I stop, I get out, take a pee, turn on all the floodlights on the truck. I don't even go on the other side of the truck. I mean, because there's no cars coming at this time of night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I get out of the driver's side. I face the ass end of the truck, and I'm peeing. And there's a little voice in my head that went off, kind of like when the dogs were there, and it tells me, look to your left, look to your left. So I look over there, and I see a shadow, like kind of in the distance that the floodlights aren't really hitting up on. So I reach over. I always carry flashlights in my car because you never know when you need them. I grab this LED light, flashlight, and it's got like 300 lumens in it. So I flash it into the woods, and I'm looking at this thing's dick, and it's about 6 feet off the ground. And I'm like, son of a bitch, what is that? Yeah, I mean, and I could see ab muscles, I could see hair, greenish skin, and I'm looking, I'm going down, and instead of going up, I'm going down with the flashlight, looking at this thing's thighs. It had like legs of a human, like a big ass bodybuilder, the biggest fucking bodybuilder I've ever seen. This thing in it, like the waist tapered down, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and it had feet like a human, but they were just huge. And at the end of those feet, he had some nice sharp little claws on him. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, why am I looking down like a dumbass at this thing's feet when I should be looking up? Because I haven't even looked up yet. So I start shining the flashlight up, some, and I see this thing's arms, and I mean, this thing like looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger, about 8 feet tall, and this thing was well over 1,000 pounds, well over 1,000 pounds. I'm sitting here looking at this thing. This thing is broad. It's huge. It's, man. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to describe how big this thing was. And I'm looking at his hands, his forearms. They're bulging out. I mean, this thing is ripped, and he's got claws coming out of his hands, and he has hands like a human being. They're not raccoon like. They're not monkey like. They're fucking human like size hands. Like, I'm just sitting there looking at it, and I look up, and I'm looking at this thing, and it doesn't have a snout. It doesn't look like a gorilla. It looks like maybe like the 1930s werewolf. You know, that first werewolf movie came out where he had a little snout on him.
Yeah.
And I mean, and his ears were like kind of high on his head, and they were pointy, real pointy, and he had like fur coming out of like fur, and it was flicking its ears front and back, front and back. I mean, just flicking them. And like this whole time, I'm shining my light into it, like my light into its face, and it has amber eye shine to it. And I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and it's not even budging. And I mean, I'm just, like I said, once again, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. I'm frozen terror. And this thing just kind of picks up the side of his lip and just curls it and just shows me his teeth. Like, get the fuck out of here. Why are you still standing here looking at me? You know, I got this feeling like you need to leave now. And I mean, the second he flicked his lip up and I seen those teeth, I mean, I didn't hear any voices in my head. It just me telling myself, like, you need to get the fuck out. This thing is, you know, letting you leave. Like, because I felt no aggression at the time, none whatsoever. But I mean, I was just frozen in terror. It didn't step towards me. It didn't do, you know, sidestep. It was just sitting there staring at me like, you know, you make the next move, human. So I just get back in the truck and haul ass. And the thing is, I didn't even look back on that one. I did not bother to look back. I was just, I mean, I hit the gas. I was maybe doing 100 down there because the truck was shut off at 100. I remember every time the truck would hit off, it would boom, it would just shut down and turn back on at 90. And I mean, I never let my foot off the damn truck. Whoa, once it hit 100, it would shut down again. And boom, I did that about 6 or 7 times before I realized, like, you know, I think this thing is gone. You know, it's well beyond behind you.
People in the chat are asking how big was his package.
It was bigger. It was about as long as my arm, my forearm. I'm sorry, not my whole arm, but my forearm.
Yeah, man, that's bigger than anything I ever want to see. You need like honestly, psychological trauma just for that.
You know what? I didn't never think about that. I mean, I looked at it. I'm looking at it. I'm like, huh? Like, there's a big penis and some nut sacks right there. Just, you know, it's like, huh? It's just there. And like, I mean, and people don't understand that whenever you get caught off guard like that, your body, like when you see something that you've never seen before, your mind tries to justify what it's looking at, and it tries to make sense, you know. And a lot of people will never know that experience, and I hope you really don't, because whenever you see something that's not supposed to exist and you see it more than once, the way that you look at the world is never the same again, ever. Right. You know, like, I don't go back to the woods anymore, not during the night. During the day, yeah, with guns, and not by myself.
So this took place between the Texas and Louisiana border. One thing that was significant about this, though, when you're giving your description of this creature, what were its legs like?
Human-like.
So this one had a human-like body with a canine head, right?
Yes.
And you also said that its muzzle was not as pronounced; it was shorter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, that would there are some in the field that, you know, follow Victor on Jeff Nataloni's show, or Victor's the only one that claims that there's a difference in the breeding programs that between a dog man and a werewolf, and they say a dog man looks exactly like a dog but just large. And they say the werewolf, on the other hand, looks more like a human being, but with a canine head. And they also say that the muzzle is not as pronounced, that it's shorter. Another thing is that the dogmen run in packs and are almost never alone. If you see one, there's others that are going to be nearby. But the werewolf, they say, is solitary. It's alone, and they say it's much stronger and more powerful than the dogman is. But like I said, the dogman's stronger because it runs in packs. It's not alone. But that's if Victor's information is is correct. But I can tell you this: I've got friends of mine that have researched that at painstaking levels, and have said that they've been able to confirm some of the stories about that as being more credible. There's plenty of people in the field that are not a fan of Victor or believe his stories. But I can tell you this too: of the people I've interviewed, there have been several that have told me that there's a complete difference between a werewolf and a dogman, and you can see that the distinction is clear.
Oh yeah. One thing that I forgot to tell you, like I told you, I did go to the Navajo Nations, and they call them face eaters. They describe them, and the natives call them face eaters. And when I told you, I think in Kentucky they call it the werebear, but they. I mean, you could say this thing had the face of a bear, but I mean, what they were describing is the same thing that I saw. I mean, was it a werewolf? I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I wouldn't know what to call that thing. So I'm just going with what you say and what Victor and the majority of the people say, because honestly, I don't know what the fuck I was looking at.
Right, which makes total sense. But you said that they in South America they call them face eaters.
No. The Navajo Nations over there, like in the Arizona area.
I see. Navajo call them face eaters. So I guess because they eat faces.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, when I looked at this thing did not look like it was there to have fun. It doesn't, it's not there to fuck around. This thing meant some serious business, and I seriously doubt that it wants to be entertained or make any friends with anybody.
Right. And when you felt those like internal messages in your head, did you think that was your own internal system telling you to be careful, or do you think it was telling you something like the other dogs did that time?
No, this was either a guardian angel or internal, one of the two. I mean, because like this dog didn't. I mean, this dog or whatever this thing is, or humanoid. No, because I guarantee you, this thing, if it wanted to, it probably could have just snatched my ass up without me even thinking about it. Because as big as it was, and as fast as I seen the Bigfoot go, I'm pretty sure this thing was just as capable and fast to clear the distance, and hell, probably even flip the damn truck over.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. My own guardian angel, I claim, has saved my life on 3 separate occasions by giving me instructions before I ended up doing something. Um, and absolutely saved my life each one of those times. And if it wasn't for that intervention and knowledge, I wouldn't have known what I was doing was going to be something that was life threatening until that point. So yeah, I certainly believe that. So, well, we're wrapping up towards the end of the show. It's been 2 hours. Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
Man, I've had quite a other encounters. I mean, I can eat up some more time, but honestly, the only thing I could tell people, keep your mind open. It's just because somebody tells you something that's weird or that doesn't seem possible or whatever, doesn't mean it's impossible. Like I said, I keep on getting proved wrong every day. Oh, this can't be real. This can't be real. Some of the times I wasn't even looking for these things. These things found me, whether it be a cryptid, whether it be a witch, whether it be a an orb. I mean, I didn't ask for any of this stuff. Yeah, I put myself in the cartel situation, because of the greed of the money, but I'm glad I was able to get out. And a lot of you are probably going to be like, you just don't walk away. Well, I'm going to tell you how I got out of that situation.
Oh, good call.
Huh?
Good point. Go ahead. Sorry to
You know,
interrupt you.
because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, how did he just doesn't walk away? Okay. The way I got out was the guy that I worked for, the main guy, ended up getting picked up by a rival cartel. And basically, whenever the head of of a cartel gets picked up, the whole infrastructure of that cartel breaks up. Like everybody goes to hiding because they're going to torture the hell out of that person, and they are going to give up information. I mean, they're going to cut fingers off from the knuckle up, and you got 10 fingers, and how many knuckles on each finger? Trust me, you're going to talk. And well, once he died, everybody dispersed. That was my cue to get the fuck out. And I told my friend Pinky, I'm like, hey man, I'm just gonna let you know, I'm walking out of this. Don't look for me. I'm tired of it. I can't go on with this anymore. This is like, it's eating into my life, my sleep, my child. I don't want to see this shit anymore. I'm out. Please don't come look for me. We were friends at one time. We still are. Don't turn yourself into an enemy because I don't want to hurt you. Like, stay the fuck away from me and my family, and I will stay the fuck away from you. And last time I heard, the brain was doing about 25 years in a federal penitentiary in Florida. And I haven't heard from my boy Pinky in about 3 or 4 years. So I do not know if he is alive or if he's dead.
What was his response to you telling him all that? How did he take it?
I guess he knew it was coming. I don't think he liked it, but at the same time, he understood that it was either going to be my family or him.
Right.
And like I told you, I never started this little path or journey to harm anybody.
Right.
But at the end, what people don't understand is when you get put into a situation, you either have a fight or flight syndrome. You're either going to fight to preserve your life or you're going to run. And in this situation, there was no running. I couldn't pack my whole family up. They were going to find me. I got relatives down there in Mexico that I got a great grandmother still alive over there, a grandmother and a grandfather. I got first cousins still down there. They knew my parents were here. Before my old man died, they knew where he was at. I mean, what am I going to do? Pack up like 30 fucking people and we're all going to move and keep moving until they can't find now. So, I basically gave them the ultimatum, like, do not look for me because I don't want to think about what I will do to you in order to get rid of the hell, to get you out of my life.
Yeah, well, anybody would go to extremes to protect their family, right?
So that's how basically I ended up getting out of that. I don't know if it was fate that did that. I don't know if God did that. I don't know, what allowed me to get the hell away from that. I'm glad it did. And, I'm not going to lie. I do suffer from flashbacks of certain things. And, I couldn't help some people, especially some children. So I do live with that on my conscience, So I just tell people, keep an open mind. Not everything you see in the news is real. That's one of the biggest mistakes. If you sit there and you think about the news and you believe everything they say, they've already got you. They've already got you.
Right. Well, everybody, I want to thank Sancho for being a guest with us today and telling us some amazing information. And I know you've got a lot more information too, so we'll definitely have to have you on again in the future sometime. Swing back and come back on and talk about some of your other experiences, and people might have more questions about what you talked about today and that kind of stuff. But it was amazing. I really thank you for coming on the show. It's some fantastic information. I'm sure a lot of the viewers, especially if they were listening in the beginning, if you haven't go back and listen to the beginning. Because it was a lot of good stuff. If you like the show, please hit the like button and subscribe, and be willing to share it with other friends and family if you think they'd be interested in hearing any of this as well. If you have any sightings or stories yourself that you feel like you would like to share with everybody, email me at support@dogmancams.com. support@dogmancams.com. Thank you, everybody, and until next time, we will see you then. Goodbye, everybody.